One MC organizer, newish to our team. Nookie is now responsible for the emails that you receive every week, the news roundup and the ones on Tuesday. We're going to let her get set up a little bit.
This is where you dance, Krista.
This is where I do not dance.
Oh, okay.
Thank you. One gentleman, thank you very much. Just for those who came in late, be advised, this is a one-off. This was a one-week only relocation to this facility due to construction going on at the Frontier. So please don't show up here next week. Thank you. And thank you for all making the effort to actually come across the highway. Appreciate it. Okay, you guys up?
Be a nice change of pace here.
Or I can just give you this one. Is it on? It's on. It's on. All right, with that, welcome Nookie Claus with Dating Kinky.
Hey y'all, good morning. So far this morning, people have been saying the word trashy a lot, and I'm taking umbrage at this because what I'm going to try to convince you is that being kinky and wanting to date kinky does not necessarily have to be trashy. In fact, that's one of the situations that Dating Kinky is hoping to alleviate within the market. So my name is Nookie, and I'm a kinky wing woman. I help kinksters and people in alternative lifestyles connect. Dating Kinky is my business, and as you can see, we serve kinksters, we serve non-binary gender people, we serve polyamorous people, swingers, etc. And I'm going to tell you a little bit more about my business, but as I'm going through this, I'd like to tell you my asks very shortly up front as well, so you can be thinking about who you might know, or maybe who you are that can help me with a couple of different things. First of all, I'm looking for more developers to join my team, specifically in Node.js, Vue.js, and mobile development. I'm also looking for somebody who can help us with social media management. Help me and my assistant. We do a lot of our content in-house, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that. We'd like somebody who can look at the analytics and help point us in the right direction and take that on. We're also looking for potential investors. Now, what that's going to look like, I'm not absolutely sure right now, but we have a feeling that there's going to be some really heavy growth periods coming up, and we want to be prepared for that. And then the last thing is, as we're going through this, anything you think about, I'm open to. I've been in business for years. I've made it a point to help other people brainstorm business ideas, suggestions, marketing. I'm open to anything that you have as we go through this. There we go. So why dating kinky? Well, right now, awareness of kink and alternative lifestyles is huge. If you look at the numbers here, 6 million in 1986 at the box office for 9.5 weeks. Now, 9 million in 2002 is about a flat line if you take what's that thing called? Inflation, yes, inflation into account. I actually looked that up because I was wondering how those numbers compare. So that's pretty much a flat line right there. And then just 13 years later, $571 million at the box office for 50 Shades of Grey. Now, 50 Shades of Grey is considered erotic romance. And according to the Romance Writers Association of America, erotic romance now makes up 42% of their digital sales. Now, if you know anything about romance, and many of you probably don't, considering, it is a market that has been going strong for decades. But erotic romance has taken this world by storm. Durex, I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with Durex, they make condoms. They did a survey, and 36% of the people they surveyed acknowledge that they are kinky in one way or another. That's a lot of kinky people out there using condoms. Yay! Also, according to a survey by the Department of Sociology and Sexuality in San Francisco in 2015, about 15% of people identifying as kinky consider themselves traditionally monogamous. So what that means is kinky people have a huge market looking out there for friends, for companions, playmates, marriage, love, romance, dating, sex, whatever it is. Because even when they have one, they're not necessarily going off the market. So they might be on the market singly or with their partner or even in familial groups. Vanilla or non-kinky dating sites don't have the kind of options that kinky, polyamorous, open relationship people are looking for. The other problem, and this goes back to that trashy comment I made, the other problem that you see in the kinky community especially is that none of the kink-specific dating or connecting sites out there are, let's say it, not trashy. They tend to be very sleazy if they have any sort of market share. And that's because they've been around for a very, very long time, and they don't take into account a lot of the new technology that people are using to inject bots into dating sites, to use dating sites for maybe illegal transactions and so on and so forth. And so this is something that we are absolutely zero tolerance about, especially if you take a look at this room. A lot of dating sites actually have about the gender makeup of this room, which means that there's a lot of men. They call it a sausage fest. And this is true on dating, on kinky sites as well. And the reason for it is because what will happen is someone like me will join a site and then get bombarded with rooster pictures, right? Or, you know, hey babe, wanna F you whatever, right? And that's what we're doing differently. We're making it very easy for anyone to report any sort of harassment and have that taken care of. Now, monetization. This is key, right? Because you want to make money off of, well, whether you do or not, I want to make money off of kinksters. And the way we're going to do it is this. First of all, Dating Kinky is a freemium site. This means that 95 to 98% of our members will never, ever pay for dating. The others will receive an enhanced experience through the website and our mobile apps if they choose to support Dating Kinky, right? We're not going to ask for payment, we're going to ask them to support us. However, we also want to monetize the people who are on the site for free, just like Google does, right? You don't have to pay to use the Google. You don't have to pay to use Dating Kinky. So we'll sell advertisements. And not only will we sell them, but for strategic alliances, we will exchange advertisements for access to other companies' customer lists. That might mean we work with a toy company to have our information dropped in their boxes to sales that are made, et cetera, et cetera. And that will help us grow our eyeballs, which will then add to our advertisement value. In addition, affiliate programs. There are a lot of companies out there teaching people how to date effectively, how to be more dominant, how to do pet play, or whatever it is that's out there. These people sell these books. Maybe it's a $50 book, an ebook, or a training program, or whatever. With an affiliate program, we might get half of that each time it's sold. And then we also have special Dating Kinky products that we use. So people here might be familiar with something like Teespring, where you can get t-shirts printed on demand as they're sold. We have t-shirts available at Dating Kinky. We also have another product, and I'll tell you a little bit about that in the marketing section, because I'm also working on a way, and so far relatively successfully, to get paid to market to a large group of consumers. Journey so far. So I'm about 2 years into this. I started off Dating Kinky as an open source platform that I customized within an inch of its life. Like, I took code that existed out there, I added a dating system on top of it, and then I picked that apart and put a million other things in there that kinksters need, and I threw it up on the web. And I didn't really market it, word of mouth, searches, that sort of thing. And about a year later, I had 32,000 users. Now, at the beginning of September, I've relaunched the web version with custom proprietary code. It's more secure, it doesn't start flopping about like a fish on dry land when there's too many users on it. And so we're rebuilding that and working on everything. I'd hoped by today that we'd actually have our new chat apps in place and ready to submit, but it looks like that's not going to be until Friday. But we will also, within the next couple of weeks, have mobile apps for our chat system for both iOS and Android. Marketing, because I've put a lot of effort into this, and this time around, I am gonna market it, I'm gonna shout it to the rooftops. So, all of our graphics, everything that you've seen here so far on the presentation, these are all done in-house by me. I have a graphics and marketing background, and so we do all of our memes. Some of them have been really successful. We've had upwards of 16,000 shares a week sometimes on Pinterest. I can reach potentially over 110,000 kinksters with a blog post. I write 3 to 5 times a week usually as far as blog posts go. When I have the time, I also make these great little videos that focus in on issues that kinky people have related to dating. The genitological sign is actually from a video I did about what to do when you get a dick picture. And it's send this video, and the video is very not complimentary to senders of dick pictures. But it's funny as well, so it's kind of a fun way to reach the market. And then that last one is the book I actually just launched on Sunday. Dating Kinky Presents. It's the first in the series of Dating Kinky Presents books. We're going to have a series of topics related to kink and various things within it. And it's been free Monday, Tuesday, and today. And we hit #1 in at least 3 categories. And we, at the time of that particular screenshot, was at like number 245 of all free on Kindle. So we have pushed a book out that talks about the site, what we do, and how we're different, as well as giving people information about how to date kinky and just not be jerks about it. And we have accessed the Amazon search engine and used it for our marketing. And we will be doing that on a 4 to 6 week basis with more titles from Dating Kinky. So, I've already told you the ask. We're looking for developers. Again, we've got a great team foundation, and we're looking for people who would like to join that team and be a part of this as we grow. Dating Kinky is actually, as far as the title goes, a very small amount of what we're going to be doing, but that's where we're at, so that's what I'm presenting to you today. A social media manager. You've seen now what I do with marketing. This is the content I produce. I'm hoping that there's somebody out there who will be able to get that content to the right people and skyrocket us even further. Like I said, investors. I don't know what that's going to look like yet, but if you know somebody that's interested, if you're interested, please do talk to me. It's something that we're very seriously considering right now. And then again, anything, ideas, suggestions, brainstorms, whatever, and if you need anything from me, I'm happy to give that back to you. Or of course, I will do my best to pay it forward as both a business person and as an organizer of 1 million cups now, and I'll do what I can. There you go.
Perfect, thank you. Okay, we're now going to open it up to Q&A, and we're going to be using the tossable cue balls. So don't forget, please toss to the next person waiting. First question.
Throw it.
Throw it, Jim.
Throw it, Jim.
Throw it, Jim.
I hate to be a downer, but is there any liability to what you're doing? roughly people meet on your site because you're kinky and it's very sexual, it sort of implies that it will be very sexual. And one of them comes up with an STD. Have you looked into that at the very least?
Have you looked into that for Match.com or OkCupid?
I have.
Are those people having sex?
They don't have sex, they just.
Right, right, no, actually, you got that wrong, those are the Christian sites. No, we don't have any more liability in that than any other dating site. This is a dating site. One of the things that we do have though, because here's something interesting, an interesting fact, people who identify, not people who necessarily are, but people who identify as kinky or identify as ethically non-monogamous, which includes open relationships, swinging, and poly, actually have lower rates of STD and STI transmission than the general public because we are aware of it and we discuss it. And on the site, one of the things that we offer is the option to actually out yourself with STD and STI status and to discuss how you handle sexuality in a safe or potentially safe manner. So there are ways to say, there are buttons to click that say, you know, I use barriers for all of my sexual intercourse. I have tested negative. I am HSV1 or HSV2 positive, and so on and so forth. So people actually have the option of putting that out there and then connecting with other people who feel the same way that they do. So we're encouraging even more discussion than the community already tends to have around such things.
Yeah, I'm encouraging a good insurance policy.
Next question. So, you know, your marketing so far seems to be pretty internal. That's correct, but you have a lot of blog posts and things along those lines. Have you thought about reaching out once you actually have a existing site to, you know, there's a lot of, for instance, organizations and comics that do these kind of things as well. Ojoy Sex Toy is the one that pops into my mind, where they have the same kind of idea of sex positive, kinky kind of interest and that kind of thing. It has the network built into it that perhaps you could go in either through sponsorship model or something along those lines. You know, it seems that your marketing right now could be expanded very easily by linking into existing sources that I'm sure you know about a lot of these as well. But.
Absolutely. So when you say internal, I would say that perhaps that's not quite the right word for it. What we've done as far as marketing so far, if you take a look, I'll actually pop back here to the marketing. If you take a look at the bottom of the book, it says Nookie Notes and Company. I actually had sex educators from around the country contribute to the book, and they have actually promoted the book as well as a result of being included in it. These are some of the things we do. Now again, you're right in that our marketing can certainly use a lot of boost in a lot of directions. At this point, it's more a matter of resources related to both time and money. If I had the money, then other people would be around to take care of a lot of the things that I have to take care of with not just, you know, my one little tiny hat here, but every hat that there is to have. That said, I have a tendency to use Twitter quite a bit for networking specifically. I don't use Twitter as much for marketing to the general public, but for networking with other people who have their own networks and connections, especially toy companies, because that's an instant way to make a connection within the company itself. And I've been doing some of that, and that goes back to the idea of swapping advertisements on the site to reach, you know, the 30,000 kinksters that I currently have for access or to their network, recommendations from their network, or being sent out to, you know, their actual customers.
Question back here.
You talked an awful lot about marketing.
Mm-hmm.
My oldest just started at App State, and they have a pretty rigorous program when they bring new students in to help them understand different types of people and this sort of stuff, which I'm just not quick enough to understand. But
it would seem to me there's an analytics play here that's stronger than the marketing play. I look at Match.com versus the site that's got the old guy with white hair that says, you know, we look at people on 15 different
Absolutely.
whatever. I forget which one that is, but.
eHarmony.
eHarmony, there you go. My thought is eHarmony has their act together, Match.com is more of a, you just dump everybody in and see what happens. And it would seem to me that as you build your marketing, if you, in parallel, build some strong analytics, that will definitely help you with your objectives of being able to demonstrate to vendors, advertisers, your ability to segment, target, and create some logic around the sort of explosion of different categorizations.
Absolutely. So speaking to that, if we're looking at analytics from an external point of view, that's absolutely one of the reasons that we're looking for a social media manager. However, analytics within the site specifically. So if you were to look at a generic member on our site, the information that they've given us is their location, right? Where they are geographically in the world, what gender they identify as, what is the role that they take on? Are they a dominant, a submissive, a top, a bottom? Do they identify as a princess or as a primal predator, right? So we can actually, with our advertising program, it is being built specifically to be able to target either the demographics within 200 miles of Buffalo, New York, right? And that might be for an event that's going on, or the psychographics. I'm specifically interested in reaching men who identify as dominant for my internal dominance training program at $97 a pop, right? And so yes, analytics are a huge part of what we want to do related to marketing. It's also, of course, going to be a huge part as we move forward in making our matching more compatible. People to people. You know, one of the things that OkCupid talks about on their blog is that the two things that determine whether people consider themselves compatible matches from OkCupid is, do they both like horror films and do they both like the taste of beer? Right? Who would have thought, right? But those are two things that they can start saying. People who like this person will probably also like this person for the same reasons. Unusual, but that's what the data brings up, and that's something that's critically important as we move forward.
One more question right here.
Hi. Thank you for continuing this conversation in the world. It's a good conversation to have.
Absolutely.
So, question. You started your presentation by looking at movies,
Mhm.
and there are many more, probably 100 or 1,000 times more virtual kinksters, so to speak, than people who want to do it with somebody they just met.
Absolutely.
So people doing fan fiction, people doing Second Life is not a thing anymore, but used to be.
Right.
Still, and so basically online things. And have you thought about doing anything with this big demand for people seeking people for virtual adventures, like writing a little story together or playing online or something like that?
Absolutely. So I've been online since 1994, and I've been kinky since before that. We'll tell you a little bit about how old I am. And I explored the online world as soon as I got on, and I have actually been behind the scenes at adult chat sites, at adult erotica writing sites. I have been a regular on like Literotica. I have posts up there, you might be familiar with it. I am pretty well known on FetLife, which is the kinky community's Facebook. And I've also worked behind the scenes on actual kinky dating sites, some of those sleazy, trashy ones I was telling you about. So that's kind of where a lot of my experience comes from. But the online thing in particular, now I will say that when it comes to actual dating, I suggest that people do get out and they meet people in their community. However, we have a very specific choice on Dating Kinky to choose online only. And if you click, I am here for online only, then you can't choose any of the other options. If you click, I'm here for online and friendship and dating and so on and so forth, then you know that that person is here not just for the online play and chat, but also for potentially meeting. But by choosing online only, you are making it very clear that this is who I am. I'm going to be online, I'm not going to go offline. Then we add to that, we have writings, we have discussions, we have photos that people can share. We have a chat system that allows for both, well, all text, audio, and video. So you can also keep it within the site instead of having to go off-site to another provider to share that online experience as well. So yes, online is something that although I tend to be more in person, online is something that I definitely want to be able to cater to and provide for.
Any additional questions? Thank you.
All right, that is it. Thank you, Nookie. Before we disperse, as usual, anybody have any community announcements they wish to share? Jim?
Well, I guess I have the ball, so I'll go ahead and speak. As you guys know, I am part of the Bunker Labs team here in North Carolina. We just set our next meeting for October 11th on IoT. So many of you are aware of the Internet of Things.